Coming to 2012, question number 31. Which of the following is a reason for government intervention to correct market failure? What do you think? The merit goods part, I'll come again when there's another question, okay? What do you all think, guys? So when there is market failure, government has to intervene, or indirectly they are asking you a reason for market failure. They're asking you what is a reason for the government to come in. So inferior goods, diseconomies of scale, existence of externalities in production and consumption, homogeneous products, advertising. Which one is, we discussed this last paper. What? When there is externalities. So when there are externalities, government will intervene. How will the government intervene, Lamai? Now, when there are positive externalities, right? So positive externalities are usually what, Lamai? Positive externalities, are they underconsumed, underproduced, or overconsumed, overproduced? Under or over? Positive externalities are under, no? Now, they are underconsumed or underproduced. So I'll say underprovided, Vilu. Okay. Why are they underprovided once again? They are underprovided because people underestimate the real benefit, no? The actual benefit of this is much high. People look at only their private benefit. So they underestimate it. As a result, it's underprovided. So then what can the government do, Lamai? Now that's the new part we are going to learn. What can the government do? What can the government intervene and do now? These positive externalities, let's say merit goods like education, healthcare, right? What can they do, guys? Government can provide subsidies, no? Right? Or government can even provide them. Now, for example, in Sri Lanka, something like education is a merit good. So government itself is coming and providing. So merit goods are underprovided, government comes and provides it. Now, if okay, forget about government providing. If they want to solve the externality, what can they do? So government has to encourage, no? They have to encourage consumption and production. Encourage consumption and production. To encourage consumption and production, what can they do, Lamai? They have to do what? They can provide subsidies. There are consumer subsidies, producer subsidies. There is an interesting question in the paper will come. Okay. They can provide subsidies. So, or maybe they can reduce taxes. They can do that also. Same thing opposite happens in the other way. When there are negative externalities, how negative externalities are usually what? Negative externalities are overprovided, no? Overconsumed or overproduced. They are overprovided. Then what should the government do? For these kind of things, government has to discourage. So how can they discourage negative externalities? How do they discourage? Now, for example, cigarettes, for example, factories that are polluting. What do? What does the government do? They charge taxes. Even for example, rules and regulations, guys. If you are, for example, polluting the environment, government puts rules and regulations. They say, look here, you can't release the water into the river. You can't release all this toxic smoke into the air, right? You have to purify it and send it. If you're releasing water, you need to do this. No, government puts rules and regulations. Then even if that fellow like a pandit, even after the rules and regulations, he breaks them, what will the government do? Government then will charge a fine. Okay, government can charge fines. Government can give pollution permits. Now, what are pollution permits? Now, there are some industries, guys, no matter what, there is some sort of pollution. You can't eliminate the pollution at all. Somehow there is some sort of pollution. So then government will give a permit. Government say, okay, right, fine, I understand that you have you can't reduce it to zero. So then if you are for example, let's say releasing toxic gas, okay, only this amount of toxic gas you can release for a year. You can't release more. So they are given a permit. Okay, like a quota. Only this much. Yes, there can be factories like that in Sri Lanka also. Okay, so those kind of things and all can be done to do what? To discourage consumption when there is a negative external. Discourage consumption, no product. Okay, that's how the government intervenes. So one reason for government intervention is when there is externalities, and we just learned how the government intervenes and what do they do. Shape, no? We'll go to the next. 32. Very easy, Lamai. The table below indicates private and external cost and benefit resulting from a coal burning power station. Private benefit, private cost, external benefit, external cost. Yes, I think this has to be, one has to be No, correct. Social cost minus social benefit. Yes, how do you find social cost? Oh, this is like grade 2 maths, no? How do you find the cost for the society? Cost for the society is your private cost plus any external cost, no? Let's say, for example, I have a factory. So what are my private costs? My salaries, my rent, my raw materials, those are my private costs. So I have a private cost of how much? 190. But then because of my factory, let's say I am polluting the environment, something is happening. So there is an external cost. People living outside my area, they are getting, bad smoke, sound pollution, noise pollution, whatever. So there is an external cost of 140. So because of my production activity, Lamai, how much is my social cost? What's the social cost? Hmm? Social cost is a 330. Okay. Then Lamai, how much is the that's the social cost? No? How much is the social benefit here? Because of some sort of activity here, private benefit. Now, how do you find social benefit? Remember, we did this in a previous paper. Private benefit plus external benefit. So private benefit ko here. Private benefit is 180. You're getting a benefit of 180. The external benefit is 110. So how much is the social benefit? Social benefit is 290. So what are they asking? They are asking social cost minus social benefit. See, do they ask a A-level student this? Social cost is 330. Social benefit is 209. So you deduct this from this. What is your answer? 330 minus this, you get 40. So sometimes do you ever wonder why do they even ask questions like, I also wonder, no? Why are they even asking? This is like grade 2, 3 maths. Okay, question number 33. This we have learned this now. Okay, one reason why the free market fails to achieve optimal allocation of scarce resources. Remember 2011 first question I taught you, inefficiency in resource allocation. Under that there were so many sub reasons. So they're asking you one of that. One reason why the market fails to achieve optimal allocation of resources. That means they're allocating their resources inefficiently. Why? Public goods are provided free of charge. Not that the public goods are provided free of charge, the public goods are not provided at all. Wrong. Positive externalities lead to overproduction. No, positive externalities lead to underproduction. Positive goods with positive externalities are underproduced. No, there is an underproduction of goods with positive externalities. Correct? Remember we learned. So positive externalities in consumption are what we call merit goods. So if you take merit goods, right, they are underconsumed. Positive externalities in production only, let's say for example beekeeping, different stuff, even they are underproduced. So positive externalities are underproduced, so therefore it leads to what? Inefficiency in resource allocation. You should have been allocating more resources to produce this, but you're allocating less resources, you're underproducing it, therefore market fail. Individuals income and wealth are not identical. That is also not that is not really income inequality. Also they are saying income and wealth are not identical. So maybe you're earning 100,000 but your wealth is very low, or you're earning 50,000 but you have property and all your wealth is high. That's again not really inefficiency in resource allocation. Existence of competition, again no guys, remember having competition is good, because when there is competition, then what happens? Then now when there is perfect competition, the price will equal to marginal cost. No, producers will charge a price that is equal to their marginal cost. Now in something like a monopoly, what happens? In something like a monopoly, people exploit Lamai. In something like a monopoly, they charge a price that is way higher than their marginal cost. So that means exploitation. Their additional cost is only 100 rupees, but they are charging 1,000 rupees from the customer. That is exploited. So that leads to inefficiency in resource allocation. Now, perfect competition, good, allocatively efficient. Example for positive externality, those should be there in your tute Lamai. Positive externality in production, maybe you can say, for example, maybe some sort of production activity that is providing training to employees, maybe things like, let's say, beekeeping, can generate some positive externality. Google, these are all things you can Google and also find out. Should be there in your note also. if you don't have a note. Right, 33 is done. 34. This question, guys, I think there is a small thing that is not there, no? OQ1 and OQ2. If I'm not mistaken, according to my memory, this was OQ1, this was OQ2. Can someone check the past paper and confirm? I have, when drawing the diagram, I have missed it. OQ1, OQ2. Fine. Yes. Then Lamai, they say the diagram below shows the market demand and supply curves for a merit good. What is a merit good? A merit good is a good with positive externalities in consumption. Okay. To increase consumption from OQ to OQ1. So currently, where are you? Currently, equilibrium is here, Lamai. Okay. Just Q1 and Q2. This O is not there. Okay, whatever. Right. So okay, we'll say Q1 and Q2. This is yeah, Q1, Q2. Okay, OQ1, OQ2. Okay, fine. Okay, so currently you're consuming here, no? Your demand is here. Sorry, supply is there, demand is there. You're currently consuming there. So they are asking you, Lama, you can even do this with the unit number 2 and 3 knowledge. You see, to increase consumption from OQ1 to OQ2, that means to consume here. In other words, Lama, shall I tell you this based on demand and supply? Two ways you can consume OQ2. One is you promote the demand. You give the consumers a subsidy. We don't learn consumer subsidy in our syllabus. But if you can give a consumer subsidy, demand will increase. If the demand curve shifts to the right, if you can show the consumers the benefit of consuming this good, right? Let's say, come get, now let's say this is a vaccine will. Let's say this is the COVID-19 vaccine, a merit good. So government can put advertisements and stuff like that. They can inform the public. They can say, look here, if you get the COVID-19 vaccine, there are so many benefits like this, do that, they can give benefits. As a result, demand can increase. Here, now your quantity can be OQ2. That's one way. Another way your quantity can be OQ2 is if they give the subsidies, a subsidy to the producer. In other words, they provide a subsidy like this. So when you provide a subsidy to the producer, then supply will shift. Then also, here you are at equilibrium OQ2. Either way, either you promote the demand, you have to somehow get an equilibrium at Q2. That's what you'll do. Then Q2 will be consumed. So which answer talks about this? See, if there's any answer that talks about giving a consumer a subsidy or giving the producer a subsidy. Which one? Tax producers. No, if it's a merit good, Lamai, don't tax. Merit good means they are underprovided. You have to promote it. Tax is complete wrong. Okay. Subsidize producers by P3, P1. See, makes sense. No, here I told you, if you can give a subsidy, now subsidy of how much? Here, see the distance here. Distance of how much? P3, P1. If you give a subsidy of this much, supply will shift. And as a result, you can have equilibrium at Q2. This can be our answer. Impose maximum price. If you put a maximum price of P3, that doesn't make sense. Minimum price of P2 doesn't make sense. Introduce a guaranteed price. No, guys. So these guaranteed prices, maximum prices, minimum prices, they will cause excess demand and supply. So you can't guarantee that amount will be consumed. So if you want to guarantee that consumption happens at Q2, that means equilibrium should be at Q2. There has to be a demand and supply matching at Q2, then only that can happen. So two ways, once again, either the demand has to increase or the supply has to increase. So in our answer, they have spoken about supply increase. They are talking about providing a subsidy to the supplier of how much? Between P3 to P1. So this amount of subsidy they are giving, as a result, supply is increasing. Is that fine, Lama? Not hard, no? It looks like a very hard question, but even if you use your common sense a little, you can figure. Shape 2012. Okay, right. Then we'll go to question 35. Again, very easy. If an economy is in a severe recession, remember during COVID recession, which of the following is the fiscal policy most effective in stimulating production? What should you do, Lama? No, it doesn't have to be only about the demand. Even supply going is fine as long as the consumption comes there. No issue. So what should the government do, Lama? During COVID, fiscal policy. Fiscal policy, what should they do? Government has to, government spending has to, government spending has to increase. What should happen to taxes? Taxes should reduce. In other words, what if they don't give any of this? What if they talk about a budget deficit? What should the government do? Should they run a budget deficit or should they run a budget surplus during a recession? During a recession, they have to run a budget deficit. That, in other words, they spend more than what they earn. That's what they should do. So spending more, taxing less. They should run a budget deficit. So you're having a budget surplus means, Lama, you're taxing. I'm not saying that the budget is in a deficit. I'm saying you should aim to run a budget deficit if you're on a recession. Because if you're taxing more than what you're earning, I'm not if your taxes are really high. So in other words, it will be unfavorable for your budget, Lama. Your budget will go towards the deficit. That's what should happen. Okay. So which one is our answer? Government spending increase, number one. Spending decrease, no. Taxes increase, no. Guys, why not 4 and 5? Why not 4 and 5? Central bank selling securities, buying securities. Central bank selling and buying securities, these are monetary policy. They are asking for fiscal policy. So you don't talk about 4 and 5. Okay, is that fine? 2012, 35. Check. Yeah, that's it with 2012. How did you all do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. 5 out of 5? Yeah. Check. Right. Good. We'll move to the next.